let's get to some of the good from Friday night, James, because there was
Okay.
a lot of it. I think the thing that jumps out the most to me when you look at the Kings without De'Aaron Fox, the conversation you and I had when he got hurt, and then every subsequent game after that was who's going to step up? Who's it going to be? And on Friday night, it was Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, and Kevin Huerter. All three of them. And did the shots went down and there were rebounds and assists, and we can talk about all that. But those three players, the three players who I believe when De'Aaron Fox is out are their three best players, particularly on offense, took 51 of their 91 shots. Whew. That's what has to happen in that scenario. And that they went out and they did that and then found other ways to be impactful. They also combined Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter alone combined for 20 rebounds. Domas added 13. That was the exact time they scored a combined 69 points. So just a really nice night for those three guys, and three guys that needed to be this good while De'Aaron was out.
I thought it was really interesting to watch it unfold because early in the game, it was Domantas Sabonis physically dominating the Thunder. Like, his dunk on Chet was spectacular. Like, holy cow.
Like, finally.
He just went right through him. Well, finally, but the game before, he also, like, I think it was even bigger numbers. It was 27.
Yeah.
Like, he missed a triple-double, but 27, 11, and 9.
But
right?
Just going through a smaller center is what I was talking about.
Yeah, a lightweight center, for sure, right? And that's, again, we're going to see that tonight against the Cavs. Like, these are the guys that Domantas Sabonis loves playing against. Like, give him a Jared Allen. Give him go ahead and throw Evan Mobley at him. There's no way they can stop him. He'll bully them down low, right? So I think he set the tempo. But I will tell you that I thought Kevin Huerter was spectacular.
Really good.
His engine, you could see him flying off of screens. You could see him cutting hard all over the place. He was in it. And that, to me, was like, he was the guy that started to raise the level of intensity of the game. And then you let Keegan Murray shoot through it. Like, keep shooting. We got you. Go try other things. Get to the rim. Go dunk on Chet. Go dunk on him. That's fine. Like, whatever you got to do. And then all of a sudden, three start falling. And you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing Keegan Murray step up. So I said this like a week ago. Is there a possibility this is a good thing that De'Aaron Fox has missed his time? That you're forcing Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray to get outside of their comfort zones and to become something bigger and better for this team. After that game on Friday, I think yes is the answer. Because all of a sudden, if Kevin Huerter can go from a 15-point per game guy to a 17 or 18 point per game guy, and he doesn't have to do it all the time, but if he's starting to take one more step, and you got to remember, he's only 25. Like, this is a young player. I think that the Kings have even more promising times ahead.
The thing that impressed me most about Kevin Huerter in that first quarter, so he scores 15 points, but it was 3 of 5 from 3, and then 3 of 3 from just layups. Like, finding whether it was getting back in transition for a layup, or I think he had a steal and a layup in there. He was so active on more than just the perimeter. And that's what, when he was struggling with his shot, that's kind of what we wanted to see, was like, dude, he can get going in that mid-range game, and then that little float game that he has, and then cutting and getting open, and then the three start to fall. He had it all he had that all going for him on Friday, and like turns in his best performance of the year by like a lot.
I think we started seeing the 2-man game against the Blazers with him and Sabonis, and he like missed 1 or 2 layups like right in the beginning of the game. But you started to see, oh, look at that, they're using Huerter in a different way, and they're running Huerter off of the screen, and then he's cutting sharp to the basket. Right. Domas is throwing it over the top. Huerter at 6'7". People always forget he's 6'7". Like, easy bucket right in the middle of the key. That's when we started to see easy baskets. And the Kings have really struggled to get easy baskets. Yep. I was sitting courtside in pregame with Alvin Gentry, And he said one of the things that stands out is that we just aren't getting anything easy. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. They're shooting like 6% below their standard, their field goal percentage of last year on 2-point made baskets. You're just not getting anything simple. And all of a sudden, if you cut hard, if you're active off the ball, that's when you start getting easy buckets. And even like with Herter, as soon as he starts doing that play where he's coming around and he's scoring at the rim, right? All of a sudden, somebody's got to cheat a little bit to try to slow Herter down, and that opens a corner up. So there's Harrison Barnes sitting in the corner. I would also point out that for some reason, they're not running any of these two-man games with Harrison Barnes and Domantas Sabonis. So it's almost like they're intentionally trying to get Kevin Herter and Keegan Murray going. And then we'll get to Harrison later. And that seems like a weird way that I'm seeing it play out, but it's making Harrison like almost not part of anything. He's just a stand in the corner guy.
Well, I mean, with all due respect to Harrison, that's probably the direction this is heading. If Kevin Herter is going to be the player the Kings wanted to be, and if Keegan Murray is going to be the player the Kings wanted to be, and then you bring in De'Aaron Fox, like, yeah, that's what Harrison Barnes is probably going to be, that type of guy. But if he's going to stripe it at 43% on catch and shoot threes or whatever, great. That's maximizing his value. But I don't blame the Kings for that.
Like, I don't blame him either. I would just say this, Kyle, if we're going to sit here and have a radio show every day where we like analyze the Kings and we want to like put a bunch of blame on a guy like Harrison Barnes, we should also acknowledge that he's not a player who brings the ball up. He's not a player who's getting into the two-man game with Domantas Sabonis. So his opportunities are super limited. Not only is he shooting way fewer shots than he has in the past, but he doesn't even have the ball because his usage is so low at this point and his assist numbers are down. And so that's all I was saying. Like, again, I think that we're honest about like the shortcomings of Harrison Barnes as a player. But the fact that, again, if you go to last season, he averaged 9.6 shots per game. You go to the season before, it's 10.8. He's at 8.4 shots per game right now. And he's shooting 47.8 from the field. He's shooting 40.5% from three. He's getting to the line way less because he has a ball way less.
Right.
So I think it's part of it.
It's not even, for me with Harrison, it's not even putting the ball in the hoop.
Yeah.
It's go get an extra possession. Go get a rebound.
That's the thing.
Those are the little those are.
Yeah.
And I would never, I want to make it clear here. I'm never blaming Harrison Barnes for any struggles the Kings have. It's not putting blame on him for me. It's more like, hey, here's a player who can help out in X, Y, and Z ways.
Yep.
More than he is. And so I think it's probably ideal that he's not shooting it as much because that means Keegan Murray and Kevin Herter and Domas and De'Aaron Fox are getting going and then Malik Monk. But it's that I need more than, what's he at? 2.5 boards a game?
2.9. He's
almost up to 3. Look at him go. Yeah, I would like to see that number at like 5 or 6.
Well, that's his career average is 5. Yeah, and a couple years ago, he was at 6.6.
Yeah, get back up to that. Like that's more my thing with Harrison, but that's a separate thing.
I'm with you. And you can't have nights where Jeremy Grant like just abuses you. Like Jeremy Grant is a quality scorer at the NBA level, but he's never been able to score on like a very good team. He's always put up numbers on bad teams.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to take away from Jeremy Grant, but what you can't do is let him have 38.
Yeah.
And a good portion of those are on you. Like it was something like he shot 6 of 8 against Harrison Barnes.
Well, that just can't happen.
Yeah.
But again, that's a separate conversation. Harrison Barnes was fine. The Kings won. I thought you had this written down, and this was, I think, the biggest shot of the game. Sasha Vezenkov, his first 3 of the game, because it came early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it was, I thought it was Shea, but it was Josh Giddey gets the and one and hits the free throw to cut it to 5. And that's where that game, it's like, man,
in the balance.
OKC gets a stop here, things get dicey. But Sasha comes down, drills a 3, gets it right back to 8. And that to me, it wasn't game over at that point, but that's where it felt like, okay, the Kings have separated themselves. And they did. They never, the Thunder never really got it back within shouting distance.
Yeah, they tried to get close one other time, and he hit another 3. And then the shot, our friend Brendan Nunez, he was doing a screenshot of, he was watching it back, and you could see it looked like Sasha Vezenkov was shooting an arrow in the corner. His release was really interesting, and it wasn't intentional. He wasn't like doing the old, I don't know, who was it that shot an arrow every time?
That's gonna bother me.
Wes Matthews.
That's it. Thank
Wes
you.
Matthews.
Oh boy, that was really gonna bug me.
Yeah, that was a pull. I'm not sure how.
That's really well done by you.
Yeah, so that was huge. I thought Sasha came up, and the other thing I point out, like, look, Sasha got benched. Like, they went a different direction.
Yeah.
They went to Kessler Edwards, and then Kessler Edwards came in.
That was tough.
Quickly fouled somebody.
Yeah.
Quickly, like,
dude, I've never seen a player get subbed out with that much haste. Just like first, like, he's out of it. Get done.
That's what happened last year when they
done for the night.
They put Nemias Keita up against, I believe it was Joel Embiid. 3 fouls and go sit on the bench. He had just got the backup center job, and that lasted 3 minutes, and he was done.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, that's harsh. So I thought he was big, and then the other good from that game, man, Keon Ellis. Like,
shout out to Keon, man.
What a bundle of joy. You know what I mean? That's what you like. Every time you're watching him, you're like, he just plays with a spirit. He had that putback dunk. He's never fouled anyone in his life. You can tell. Like, every time he is so surprised when someone blows a whistle at him. But man, he just plays with energy, and he plays with like spirit. And I totally dig what Keon Ellis is doing.
Yeah, they needed it. They needed some kind of spark like that. And I don't know if Keon Ellis has any role when De'Aaron Fox gets back.
Probably not.
But I mean, it's nice to know that when Fox is out, that you have a player that you can go to who's just going to bring it like that.
Yeah, I
that
think
kind of stuff matters.
Maybe later in the show, because we're running low on time here, maybe we get into that discussion, or maybe we do it later this week. What does Keon Ellis's development mean for Davion Mitchell?
Oh, snap.
And yeah, I mean,
it's a great midweek topic.
Yeah, like, how do we get to that point? So I think it's interesting, but what I do know is he's played really, really well, and he deserves another look.
You want to rip through the bad and ugly here in 3 minutes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Bad. I don't even, you have this down here as a bad. I'm not going to call it bad. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is just really good.
No, he is, but you had no answer at all.
Does any team?
He's out there running around like Jeremy Grant, putting up points on you. Yep.
Is that the new standard?
That's right.
Jeremy Grant going for 38. It's like, dude, you got to have an answer. Shai going for 33. He scored 35 against Phoenix last night.
Yep.
Game before Sacramento, he had 43 against Cleveland. Game before that against Atlanta, he had 30. Like, Shai just pours it in, man.
No, he does, and he's ISO Joe. I mean, he does everything off slow motion bouncing, and I mean, he's really talented.
I love his style of game, and there's a little bit of this to D'Angelo Russell as well, but just that methodical, not super quick, not super shifty, just going to get to his spot and get his shot. Mm-hmm. I love watching players like that. But yeah, yep. Shai's a tough guard for sure. Pace still wasn't great.
Nope.
In Friday night's game, what'd they finish at?
I want to say it was 98.6 or something. It's like your temperature. I don't think
that's fine.
I don't think I have it written down, but
100.5.
Oh, it was 100.5. So they broke 100 pace.
Yeah, look at them go.
It's a miracle.
I think that's the first time they've done that since De'Aaron Fox has been out.
It is the first time they've done it since De'Aaron Fox has been back. And like, the Kings pace wise are all the way down to 24th in the league at 99.41.
It's not going to do it.
That's not going to cut it. Yeah.
And then Chris Duarte slipping out of the rotation.
Yeah, it's happening quickly. He had the one game against Houston where he came in, he brought energy and hit a bunch of shots in the first half. That's not who they want him to be. In that situation, it was fine, but that's not who they want him to be overall.
No.
And he's got to figure it out, because he's sliding right out of that rotation.
Yeah, if you can't defend without fouling, like that's...
And Keon Ellis is going to take you all minutes.
Yeah, 100%. And then under ugly, and these are we can stop the conversation here because I think this is something that we're going to be talking about a lot going forward. Harrison Barnes really struggled, 4 points. He was 1 of 8 from the floor, and then you got Davion Mitchell, 1 of 6, coming off the back of maybe his best game of the year. So
he was a non-factor.
I'm
Davion, not good.
I think Harrison Barnes and Davion Mitchell are going to be 2 guys that we talk a lot about.
That's very possible, especially if Kevin Huerter keeps playing like this and Keon Ellis keeps playing like this. Maybe there are minutes at the 3.
What's the date? December 15th?
Yeah.
That's the date?
That's the date.
I think HB and Davion are going to be popular players to discuss leading up to that December 15th date.